So right about now, Josh the Ford fanboy, one of my subscribers, is probably going crazy because I'm making this video. He's always talking about his Fords and his Mustangs, so today I decided to cover one of them, one that I've actually never really reviewed truly, and believe it or not, this was my starter car of choice here in Forza Horizon 3, so about a year ago is when I first drove this thing, and I chose it as my starter car. But then I ended up selling it. I really wanted to get the Hennessy Venom GT, so I pretty much sold everything I had and got credits as quickly as possible so that I could buy that car. But really nice once again to see a little bit of customization, even though it's not a ton, but this spoiler I like way better than the other stock one that was on here, so that's my personal preference. Other people might disagree, but I think everybody could agree that the taillights on this car are absolutely beautiful, probably the nicest Mustang taillights in my opinion, and they have looked very similar for a very long time now. Me being a very picky person, if I had to say one thing I did not like about the looks of this car, would have to be the headlights. They made them a lot skinnier and smaller than what they used to be on a lot of the older models, and to me it just doesn't really go with that bold look that the Mustang has, and they kind of took the idea and the design, I think, from some of the other Fords, so to me, I don't really like that quite as much as the older ones, but overall, this is still a beautiful car inside and out, and I just love the way those taillights look. I mean, they're probably the nicest of the more modern Mustang taillights in my personal opinion, so let me know what you think. Let me know which taillights you like from the Mustang. Which model year do you like best? But this car is actually a very fun car to drive, and it performs very well, which kind of makes me regret not having it for such a long time and not driving it for such a long time. You can see the gearing ratios right here. Once again, 6th gear is pretty much just unusable, which kind of bothers me. Top speed's about 185, which is fine for a car at the bottom of the S1 class, but the launch in this thing is not all that great, and this race does start uphill, so the launch probably looked even worse than it actually is. But I'd say the one thing that I don't like about this car is it's kind of heavy. It weighs almost 3,700 pounds, so that's definitely one downside, and the top end acceleration is not all that great, partially because of that. And the other thing is, though, the handling is good, it's very responsive, but you really need to have perfect control of this thing because that weight is noticeable if you don't really make sure that you control the car as perfect as possible. So sometimes it can have understeer, but it actually turns a lot better than I thought it would. The other thing that I love about it is the grip is fantastic going around turns. Doesn't matter if you're in 1st gear, 2nd gear, sure you need a little bit of throttle control just to make this thing not slide and lose acceleration, but you know, the launch might make you think that the grip is not good on this thing. That is not true at all. The grip is fantastic, which certainly helps with the handling, and the car just feels responsive, like I said though. Even though it is heavy, it does feel pretty responsive, and I was surprised at how nimble this thing feels, even though it is pretty heavy. And also the braking is absolutely fantastic on this thing. I mean, this is the GT350R, which is pretty much the top of the line version of this car, so I think it's very fun to drive, and the gearing ratios, you know, they feel good overall. Like I said, the acceleration isn't super fast, you don't feel like you're flying, but it's good enough, and it does shift a little bit slow, which is one thing I kind of don't like, but overall, I do love the thing. It sounds pretty cool with the crackling and the popping. Pretty much sounds like fireworks almost all the time, and overall I just really enjoyed it. It's a very enjoyable car to drive, and I think Josh the Ford fan would completely agree with me. So if you have never given this car a try, which I'm sure pretty much everyone has by now, you certainly need to. It's a great car. It's certainly a very good modern muscle car, and it's pretty simple. If you want to build this thing, put it to the top of the S1 class, make sure you add a lot of acceleration, probably reduce weight, and then just make sure that you maintain the grip. You definitely don't want to just add power or just reduce weight, because if you do that, you're certainly not going to have that amazing grip that you have when the car is stock. So let me know if this was your starter car in Forza Horizon 3. That's pretty much all I got to say about this thing. Have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of this gameplay.